G'day viewers, welcome to another super helpful, cool repair video from the Goat Shed, located in Newcastle, New South Wales, Australia. So today is Saturday, May the 20th, 2023, and it's currently 9 degrees Celsius outside, quite brisk, which is about 48.2 degrees Fahrenheit. So that might give you a bit of an idea. Now, just before we go on with the video, just apologies, our last video was not edited correctly and it doubled up. Sorry about that. That was just one of those things that Spanky missed, and it wasn't until I reviewed that video that I noticed it, and by then it was way too late. Anyway, these things happen. Right, drop targets. We've done a number of videos on drop targets, but today we wanted to share with you a problem that we had with a particular unit. Now, we had a big Indian in earlier this year, I think about February, and repaired it for a guy. We actually did a video on some of the repairs to it, and in that video we replaced the drop targets, and that's those you're looking at there. But this particular owner came to our repair course a couple of weeks ago, and he said, "Oh look," he said, "I'm just having this problem. Sometimes the drop targets don't restore properly. It might be, sometimes it might just be one, sometimes it might be two, or even three, but it's not consistent. It could be the middle one 1 minute and the two left-hand ones the next." It was all over the shop. So Graham and I went and had a look at the bloke's premises. We normally don't go out and do outside service calls, but as we'd only just fixed it and the guy had come to our course, we felt obligated to go and have a look. Now, when we got there, what we discovered was that the throw of the reset coil, it just was hitting the coil stop as the targets were resetting. But what we'd also noticed that it had been adjusted before. We didn't seem to have a problem with it when we had it here, but you know, obviously there was a problem, and we adjusted it and it seemed to improve it, but it didn't fix it 100%. So having a real close look at it, what we discovered was a really badly worn reset bar where the plunger, the coil plunger, is fitted to it with a roll pin. So here it is here, I'm going to show you. There it is. Now that's just supposed to be elongated. It's elongated in both directions, up and down and sideways. So see the wear in that? So obviously I've not seen that before, to be honest with you. That is really badly worn, and that gives you an effect of way too much movement.
There's supposed to be a little bit, but not like that.
Yeah, so here's a normal one there where the elongation isn't nearly as bad. So we decided what we'd do is change it. But what we discovered, you can see the big hole here. That's where a nylon bearing goes through, such as this here. We've got one there somewhere. There it is.
But that one's been worn down with.
That sort of nylon bearing goes through there. But there's another style of... There's two styles of reset bars. So you've got one with a small hole which the shaft goes through, and one with a larger hole which the bearing goes through. Now, machines like High Hand, we've got two High Hands, and they take that small hole, and the rod, this rod, goes straight through that hole, like such. Where obviously you can't do that on this one, It's got too much movement. That's why they use these bearings. Like that. Now, that's okay. Therefore, the bracket that holds the coil on is different too. So there's the other style, and there's the original style. So we took a reset bar with us, not really realising all of this. And of course, the reset bar that we took was the incorrect one in respect of the.
We knew that the holes were different, but we thought that it'd fit, no worries. But we didn't realise that the original one had the dog leg on it.
Where is it?
That's there.
Yeah. So yeah, the original shaft's got that dog leg on it, like that.
So the difference there.
You have to drop them down a bit, Graham.
And,
so see that dog leg? Now, also, if you have a good look at that dog leg, someone's had a bit of a go at this and they've bent it to try and give more throw. That should be straight up and down. But the wear and tear in that, like we showed you, is just, well, what's this, big 75? 74. Yeah. So the machine obviously had some really bad wear and tear in there. Okay, so...
what happened, we put it back together and it was all good. The only thing we needed to do was change that bracket to that one, and now luckily we had one in the box. And then what the problem was is that the push rod through was all good, except you can see the difference here. The one we're putting on is wider, so we needed a bit more length, and when we used this one that was already on it, of course we couldn't get any circlips on there because it was just barely making it through the hole.
So you need to put a circlip on the edge there.
We've come back to the shop and we've had to put the longer rod. And it's only probably a quarter of an inch, which is all we need.
So that rod there on the top, that's the one we're going to fit in.
We're going to fit in, so we've got to run it through.
Now what we're going to show you is the follow-through method. Now we've spoken about this, but I don't think we've ever illustrated it. So the idea of this is we want to take the shaft out of that's in there, and all those drop targets are under spring tension. The triggers and everything are in place. So what we've done, we've got the shaft ready, the new shaft. We've polished that. We're just going to pop it in there, push it, and we're just going to gently push it through.
As we go.
Now just if he stops there in the middle, say we wanted to take the middle drop target out, all we've got to do is split the two shafts. Just pull one to the left and one to the right, like that. But we don't need to do that, we just want to keep going through. Now imagine you had a 10 bank, middle one broken, you just wanted to change it. That makes it so much easier. So that's what we call the follow-through method. Now, we used to use the follow-through method in segments in typewriters. How do you take a type bar out in the middle of the segment without all the others falling out?
So that's replaced.
There we go, we've done that.
In under a minute.
So that's pretty good. Now, they're really easy to take out. We've once again demonstrated how to take drop target banks out of machines in other videos, but this is on the bench. It's much easier to work on. You're in someone's home, you haven't got a workbench, they've got leather lounges, you've got to be careful.
Yeah, and dogs.
Yeah, and dogs. That's the dog that gobbled Spanky up.
He's all good now.
He's all good now, yeah, there he is. Bring him over. What's he doing?
He had a head transplant.
Oh, he's got to come over a bit closer, Graham. Put him on the drop targets there. There he is. I think, Spanky, the world is happy that you're better. Yeah, there he is. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're just going to put that bracket back on. Well, before we put the bracket on, we've got to put the reset bar through. So that's just a matter of coming in from one side.
But the drop targets have got to be up. They've got to be reset. It's fairly simple.
There you go. Yeah. The trick is, as you just heard Graham say, have the drop targets.
Now we'll just line it up roughly for now until we get everything set up. So put there. Right. This is our new bracket. So that has got to go on. We've got to put the spring on as well, but we can do that later.
Now the spring that he refers to as a hair spring, there it is there. We'll show you where that goes in a moment. I keep saying this, we've done repair videos on drop targets before. Only one fairly recently, I think for high hand, when we've done all the high hand ones. So we've probably got about 4, maybe this will probably be our 5th video on drop targets. But they are used extensively in Gottlieb games. What was the first game with all the drop targets? 2001.
Yes.
In 1970?
Yes, 70, early 70, yeah.
And it's got a ton of drop targets on it. And of course Gottlieb used these for a long time, right up till the death. And I guess they still used them in solid state games as well. But we don't talk about those here in the goat shed. Do we, Spank?
Okay. Right. Let's turn that off.
So we're just fitting that bearing in there now. There it is there, or bushing, whatever you like to call it. Putting the clip on. So that hairpin spring has been refitted. Now, I'm just going to endeavour to show you that spring. There it is there. I'm just touching it. So it just hooks on to the shaft. And around onto a screw up the top there.
That holds the coil bracket on.
Coil bracket. We have, once again, we've illustrated this in other videos, but here we go again. There, that's where it goes onto. Then it goes in the hole on the reset bar. Some people just sit it under the lip, but we like to put it in the hole. Now, so in summary, what we've essentially done is modified this particular target bank.
We've just got to put the coil on.
We're going to put the coil on in a moment.
The main problem is that the original shaft was about 1/4 of an inch not long enough, if you can see there. And we couldn't get the circlips on, so we had to come back to the goat shed and get another wreck and get a longer shaft. And now you can see we've fitted it all, and it's absolutely pretty good.
And of course, what started all this was this worn part here that we showed you, and it was a different. It had the small hole for the shaft to go straight through, where the one we replaced had the reset bar had the larger diameter hole, which needs those bearings to go in it.
Yeah, we'll just fit the coil, make sure it's all good, so then we can take it back and put it in the game.
Coil and adjust it. Yeah, that's right. So this is one.
It's a bit like a Frankenstein thing where we actually didn't have another drop target bank from 74, so we had to do what we had, and just take a little bit of figuring out, and it actually works pretty good. So next time we have this sort of problem, we'll know what to do. It's not the sort of thing you see all the time.
Absolutely not. So this is a lesson in field engineering, and this is one good example of why we don't like to go out in the field and repair games that we've not looked at before.
How many parts can you take?
Yeah, we don't have a service van, as everyone knows. We're not a business. So Goat Shed Field Engineering has this time paid off. We've spent a little bit of extra time on it, going back and forth, but
we just got
to put this on now and adjust it. So having spare parts readily available is pretty good, but as we mentioned, we had the wrong style reset bar, but we've overcome it. So we're just putting those screws back in the coil case now. We found one screw had a Phillips head on it, so we've just changed that over and just give the screw head a bit of a polish to make it look nice. There's even a better view of those bushings in the end there. Now what you do, you leave those screws just a little bit, like finger tight. And then you adjust it. The whole idea of this is to slowly reset it with your finger. Feel when they all come up that there's a little bit of over travel.
Maybe a little bit more.
Okay, he's just going to give it a bit more and then we'll give you a more clear on view. Just while Graham's adjusting that, this is the original reset bar that was in it. You can see it's been brazed at some point in time.
Yeah, look how worn it is too.
And you can see the wear. It's got
there.
all the wear marks down here. I'll try and get that in focus there. Really, really bad. Now there is something you can do about that. It was a trick we've shown or illustrated this in the past too. You can get yourself like something like a hacksaw blade, just cut it to shape and length, and JB weld it on there, and that gives you that little bit of extra throw. Okay, so we've adjusted it. Now Graham will reset this, and you will notice that that very end one, this time it came up. Now, what we're going to do now, we're going to push it down again, and we're going to reset it really, really slowly by hand, and you watch what happens. See that one's falling down? Why? Why is that one falling down? We're going to show you. It actually has a badly worn trigger. So there's your badly worn trigger. There it is there. It mightn't look too bad in the picture, but you watch my spring, it's going to go and it's going to fall down.
That's a good one.
See it dive down? And that's what's missing on giving us the extra throw. So we'll put a better one in. Let's see, the trigger goes that way in the machine.
Luckily it's an M1 to make it off easy.
Here's one here. It's just got like a minor little mark there. That's where it hits.
Nothing compared to the other one.
Yeah, so we'll replace that, and that'll give it positive resetting. Right. Remember our philosophy and our motto. Do it right. Do it once. There's a better view of that worn trigger. Now, you can repair those. That's actually got a little lip on it. This is the lip I'm referring to here, and it's on both sides. There's the other half. So what you can do, you can get a Dremel flapping tool and fix that up. I might do that and I'll show you what it looks like. There's that one a bit cleaned up now. Our flapping tool is just about worn out, but as you can see, that's a vast improvement, and that would work a lot better, but that sort of would be for an emergency only, so you can repair them. Right, so here we go. Whoop. I'm trying to do this one-handed. Drop them down. I'll get Graham to reset it for me. There you go. Up they come. So that's better now. We'll do them again just to check it. Look at it, working perfectly now. So
a lot of mucking around, but it's worth it.
And whenever you've got drop targets, and they do play up like that, it's often the end one opposite the reset coil that plays up, because it loses inertia, and it compensates for any wear and tear. Bearing in mind, even though we replaced a part, it wasn't a brand new part, and you've still got a little bit of slop. Well, this slop is meant to be here. That's meant to be like that. But this one was badly worn, remember?
Yeah, but the sideways slop.
And the groove in the bar itself would have increased over the years where it hits. You haven't got a new one. But that's why you tend to lose inertia, as I was just talking about. And remember, those roll pins can wear too. Now, they're 1/8 roll pins. I think I mentioned this before. God, we had trouble getting those here in Australia. But fortunately, when I was in the USA, I couldn't buy them at Home Depot, or they reckon they sold them, I think, online or something. Well, you know, that was a bit difficult for me. But my friend Bob took me to a hardware store in downtown Rockford, Illinois, and the guy there was super helpful and friendly. He had those roll pins in stock, 1/8 by 1/2 inch, I think they are, and I think I bought about 30. They weren't very expensive. So that was really, really good. Okay, so now that just remains for us to go back and fit that in the machine. And the other thing we wanted to point out, when you do these adjustments too, you've got to make sure that this is the coil casing is perpendicular to the frame. If it's twisted, it won't go in and out properly. You can get that to bind. You can see that's moving in and out perfectly. That sometimes if they're going in skew with, they don't work real good. So you've got to check that, and you've got to just loosen the screws off and here and twist it and adjust it. I get into a point where I lightly tap them with a hammer to move them up and down, and it works. You've got to do that with trip banks too sometimes. So look, once again, we hope you found this video useful. All we can do is make these videos, show you what we do in our day-to-day lives here as pinball mechanics in the goat shed. We have an enormous amount of work that we carry out. A lot we don't get a chance to video. We're going to try and do more videos. I know we've been a bit slack on them lately, but so be it. As I mentioned the other day, we've had construction going on. Graham's been sick for 2 weeks. And
Spanky's been in hospital.
Spanky's been in hospital at the vet, getting transplanted, etc. So it's been a rather busy time for us. But once again, if you've watched the video this far, thank you so very much. Please make sure you subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to hit that bell to get notifications when we're doing videos. So till next time. This has been another Goat Shed presentation.